Here we are at the home workshop. Gonna do some sheet metal work on the Merc. I'm a poet. Nothing elaborate, but necessary loose ends. Let's talk about this. Well, first let's talk about this. Putting up some new artwork in the shop, and I want to thank everyone that's ever sent anything in. This is from a friend who died. He was in the Funky Futura episode. He did the lettering. Gilbert, OG Puke. He did the pinstriping on Mr. T. He did a lot of work on Victor's cars. He did the, most notably in my recent memory, the silver leaf swirl on the Riviera. Custom painter, pinstriper, man of many talents. Rest in peace, Gilbert. It's a while that he's been gone, but I just saw that piece and hadn't shown it off much, so let's talk about the car next. All right, so one of the main things while I was working in and under the car, if I can stop kicking this, was the points coming out of this door. You know, that looks pretty darn dangerous. Not only does it look dangerous, it actually is dangerous. There was a lot of debate, especially in the comments, on what to do about this. And I'm going to leave it. You know why I'm going to leave it? Because I love this uninterrupted curve. The seam here, I'm okay with. What I'm going to do is when the window rolls up, it's going to roll up from here to here. Let me get a bar and put it on there. Even though it's a topless car, I'm always thinking about glass, right? So not that there'll be a wind wing there, but I've seen a lot of chop top cars where this is just a fixed piece of glass. And maybe if you look on modern cars, a lot of times the mirror is mounted right here on a big plastic shape. So, you know, the mirror could also mount there, but basically the window channel will be there if and when. And then when it opens, you know, you'll have a surround for the glass. One thing I'm thinking about is the opening and shutting of this and how that's going to seal. If you're looking straight through, you can see light right through there. If you can see light through there, guess what else? Water, bugs, aliens, who knows? Anything could come through that. And I'm also noticing when I had that glove put on there for safety, kind of bent the sheet metal when I closed the door. All right, cool. So, easiest thing to do with this is have a cap on top of the door, of course. So we're definitely going to cap the door on top there. But then inside, let me get my little handheld magnetic. I want to thank Jamie for getting all these cool features. Look at this. Little dual magnetic mount. The phone mounts right to that. Posable. Is that cool or what? So see, we're going to want a seal on this. So the seal is probably going to want to back up against the inside of the door here. Because when it opens, right? So I'm imagining some kind of piece of sheet metal coming in and just down a little bit. I don't have my brake here. We're at home. So that's not a very big piece. I think we could make that without a brake. I've been doing a lot of fixed position camera work lately, meaning everything has just been sitting still watching the action. So Jamie, today or very soon, she's going to come in with the gimbal handheld mount, so there's a little more motion in it. And then we also have that cool welding lens camera thing. So she's going to try both of those out and see how the crowd responds. Yeah, that opens that up considerably. Since I have my new fancy pants vise, I might as well make use of that. All right, so this is what I'm getting at right here. See, the shelf is going to go this way and then turn down. So I think let's concentrate on that first. You can see this piece of steel is very differently shaped than we're going to end up with, because it's a scrap. So just going to mark here where this A-pillar ends, and that is just outside of that. So let's do that to, just going to chop this off right here. We're not going to need it bigger than that. I grabbed a heavier piece of steel than 20 gauge. This is 18 gauge, so definitely going to be strong. I'm going to cut this with the shear, with the grinder. Yeah. Cool. So that, now let's just see how much. Yeah, no, that should be adequate. So let's just turn this down right to there. And then, how much? Yeah, we're just gonna need to do this like that, and down like that. So that's a pretty small piece. I'm gonna cut this and go to the vise. Yeah, I like it. Cool. Let's go to the vise and we'll bend this. So this is what you do when you don't have a sheet metal brake. And your bend smaller than your 4 or 5 inch vise draw. Vise, you know, the thing. What do you call that? Yep. Still the guy with the broken hammer. Some things never change. We're getting a little plumbing work done at the house today, so I was using my tools in other locations. The main water coming in, the valve is a little bit leaky. So before it freezes, we want to attend to that drip. All right, cool. So once it's in the car, you know, they have that rubber strip, weather strip, that'll push onto that, and it'll be puffy on the inside. When the door shuts, we got a seal. A vise jaw. That's what the word I was looking for. Not a vise draw, the vise jaw. That's gonna go here, like so. Is it? Yes, it is. And we can always bend this inside flange if it's not perfectly straight after we weld it. Let's just concentrate getting this welded with a decent gap. And some glasses on so I can see. So this will be the cool part when Jamie comes out. A lot of people have asked to watch the actual welding. So hopefully we can accommodate. Got some trim holes here. I might as well fill those up. So on a A-pillar, you know, very rigid section like this, that's totally acceptable. Don't do that on your door skins because it's going to warp it. Or anywhere else where there's a large panel. Yeah, it fills it right up nicely. All right, I'm going to step inside the car and take care of that. So here you can see how that'll allow that. I'm going to have to come in here too with another area for a seal. All right, so depending on what happens here, I'm not sure yet. We can work that out. Let's just grab this. Yeah, cool. Let that cool off a little bit while we're making this template. I'm just gonna shut this. I'm taking a look in, and I want to clear this off a little bit. It's a little bit tall. That's gonna come to there. It's gonna be a little step off where this body changes shape. There. So pretty much just a little action like that to go around this shape in the door jamb. And please remind me if I'm talking with the magic marker in my teeth, because we realized I go a lot, as well as talking like there's a marker in my mouth. These are little broadcast things you don't realize working on your own. So happy to have Jamie attending session once again. You know, that's just one thing we pride ourselves in. We do what we want. So first you want to really get into the editing. He's done wonderful with that. I think we all can agree. And she was looking at some of the earlier videos and we were having fun. Messing around, she was doing the camera, I was doing the dance. And try that again. So, yeah, this, not talking of the marker in my mouth, right? That's as long as we need that. Let's bring this into position right there, and that translates to that. Set that in. So we know that I'm going to leave this here on the door. That way, whatever we do with the window channel, you know, I'll have something I can come up and build onto that with. So yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slice in right here just a little bit so that sets in. First, I'm going to trace the outside of this door. Got that locked in. And yeah, that's pretty decent representation. You see we got one right in there like that. Cool. You know, at first I thought I was going to slice this, but I realized that level is perfect. So once I push on this, hold that down, we are good to go. Yeah, so this gap looks good just like that. Just gonna weld the whole thing right through. Yeah, it looks decent. Yeah, once the grinder's in there, that'll look decent. There's a little weird sketch right here from the grinder. Yeah, now it's even enough all the way through. And this is a little bit over the top here, so I'm going to try to burn that deep in. Be pushing that weld bead under the plate so I can grind it off. Yeah, and then the filler, etc. comes together. This will look nice. You can see what we're dealing with here. Just wrinkled that up a little bit. Let me get my... Yeah. So yeah, the wing window, etc. used to be in here. So let's take this paint off. We'll make that piece. Then we'll wrap that up last. Yeah, so if this comes up to there, yeah, pretty much just needs to do that. So, you know what I'm saying? We're just gonna make a little deal like that. See how that looks. Yeah, we're back to the 20 gauge now, which is considerably easier to work with. And for this type of patchwork, 20 gauge is perfectly adequate. 18 is a little bit much. So I'm gonna flip this around. You know what, maybe I'm gonna put a tack right there just so I can get on the other side of this door. Another world, I might put a little tack screw and hold it, but I really like this right there. Let's go to the other side of the door and take a look. Yeah, so basically this is going to do this. Maybe just a little bit lower. It's going to stop here, and then this tab is just going to come over so that we can fold this over and trim that back for the whatever happens later. I know, it doesn't make a lot of sense right now, like most of the stuff I do. But trust me on this one. Now with that tack, you just twist it. If you go wobbling it back and forth, it's going to bend everything. So that simple twist takes the tack weld right off. It's always like a puzzle. I mean, you got to think a bit like a puzzle master when you're creating these pieces. All right. That's the way it was. Now we can do a little better peekaboo on this. Right, that looks cool. Like that. We can pull this in. So yeah, let's do this. Because we're not trying to build the door out this way. A little bit wouldn't hurt because there's going to be a door panel, but just saying. General practice. Yeah, that's real close. Bring it up just a touch more. Yeah. Cool. Yep. Let's take this tack off. Yeah, that looks good. Now let's do the peekaboo here. Let's just say it's coming north of that, straight up. Ta-da. Yeah, look at that, fits right in. Cool, so we like this. Now we're gonna bend this little flag over, and this is looking a little bit tall right here. Let's just take this. Because again, we're not trying to build the door bigger than it is. If the sheet metal falls a little bit, just a little bit below, it's okay by me. Yeah, cool. Love it. Love it, love it. Let's go to the vise, turn this over. All right, so I just did a little looky-looing at the door to make sure. We want this just a little bit below the lines I drew. I'll get into that in a little bit when we get back. Do have to get a little anvil set up for this. Oh, you know what? Let's put a plate right here. Cool. We won't be sandbagging today, but got a nice. And look, I just relocated my hammer. Things are just looking up. All right, it's kind of an odd shape. That's what's gonna fit. I'm not really worried about that little mismatch. You know, this will be hidden by a door panel. Main thing we're trying to move towards here is how we fit up this inside. So see, these levels are the same. I'm not sure what's going to happen through here, but right now we're just working on that. Yeah, this looks cool. Move this. Inward. So you can see why a custom car body can take thousands of hours. Every little piece like this. And it really is this type of stuff that takes the longest. You know, the big panels, they're one big panel. I am feeling that. Let's just get onto the front side of this door. So you can see this gap here is reasonably small, but whatever I do, you know, you see how wide this channel is. It'd be very easy to fit that up. I'm gonna grind all this down, just take a look. And we got all that, all that, all this, all that. Got a lot. Let me grind. Little intermission. I got this all sanded. As I mentioned, we had somebody working on our plumbing, so a couple things to attend to, but we're back in action. You can see here that this gap is reasonable. You know, we're not perfecting the gaps on this car just yet, but it's something to think about. You can see it does get a little bound up here, tight, but where I did the work, it's very straight on this part. And then this I'm leaving open because there will be a little bit of filler, and then there will be, like I mentioned, some type of a rubber strip that goes under there just to jam it. So yeah, that's cool. I didn't do this part yet because we were about to. This is pretty straight up too. The original door sills, I still have them, so we're probably going to end up modifying that. That's why I didn't mess with this yet. We got to see how that all comes together. But this is a very simple cap right here. You know what we should do? First, you can see how that window, there's a huge wing window in this thing. Maybe let's dig in the trunk. Let's do a little exploration. Let's modify that and put it on. Because I'm looking at this metalwork right here, and that's dipping down. And we could pry that up, no problem, but let's get this and see what level we're working with. I've been wanting to get back in this trunk anyway and see what we're dealing with, because we've been storing a lot of stuff in there. Yeah, I know, you're thinking the same way I am. Is there a lot of junk in the trunk? Why, yes, there is. All right, I see some window garnish. Well, oh no, it's all inside there under the seat. So there is junk in the trunk. These are the windshields. Yeah, let me dig in that car in the back. I know there's a lot of camera mounts in this world, but have you ever seen the Zephyr cam? That's right, that's the high-rise view from the Zephyr roof. So everybody, if you were sitting on top of a Zephyr, that's what it looks like. Trying to keep it interesting, always, because if you know car building, it's not very exciting. And that was not very exciting, but it was necessary. All right, let's get in here without knocking it off with any jack stands. Let's see, without digging too big a hole. These are rears. I think we're digging a big hole. Yep. What's this one? Oh, that's right. This was a big, ugly four-door. I was like, man, that's a massive window. This looks like a front. There it is. Wow. Imagine. That's how big and ugly this car was. Wow. Okay, we got one more front in here. There it is. Oh. Anybody needs some four-door Mercury rear window garnishes? Well, not this one, but that in the rear window, because we didn't have a back glass for this. So we think we're missing some of those as well. So you see, I don't know if you can see, but it's so much safer now that this is built out. It's not sharp. Let's, yeah. That was a big window. Let's bring this over to the table and cut it up. This winter weather. It's nice today. Yesterday was quite cold. But you see the mountain range right there? And you see the sun right up there? It gets dark here at 3:30 p.m. In the winter, the sun is way out there past the peak of that. And man, it doesn't get dark here until like 10 p.m. But it's 2:30 right now. In 1 hour, the sun's below the horizon over there. And it gets cold. Not cold like some of you may experience. So let's see. When we first moved up here, we were talking to some folks and they're like, it ain't even cold yet. I was like, yeah, we get it. How do you take this apart? Looks like we're going to take these rivets out. Man, I can't see nothing. Yeah, let's just get... I don't expect to ever use this window again, but it looks like that is welded to that. Just take the glass out, we'll put the disc in, and we'll remove that. Yeah, we're never going to use this. So I'm going to trim. I could unscrew it right there. But why unscrew it when we got a grinder? Glass? That's what I was saying. I think I'm going to cut this because that goes to there. It's complicated, I can tell you that much. put this on and see what we're working with. Have our shorter tripod today. Yeah, so that is going to get cut off of there anyways. You know what I think I'm going to do to finish this end? I think I'm going to cut the back window molding, because that has an... No, it doesn't have an end on it. I have to make this end. You know what I'm thinking? That could be another episode. I know, everybody's getting antsy. Come on, another episode. We want to see it now. Well, I think that's what's... Class, I think that's what we're going to do. Because I'm looking here. So we have a definite line that we can trim this on. We have to figure out how to finish that. So you know what I bet we could do? Let's just lay a couple things out on the table for discussion. We can take this other window trim, assuming these are the same contours. See where I'm getting at? You can take this piece here and bring that all the way out to the end. And then just cap that end. Am I making sense here? Let's go to the table. And here I was giving away these pieces just moments ago. All right, we're going to save that because we don't throw anything away till we're done. So this is what I'm getting at. We're losing light quickly. You can feel the chill. So see right here, it starts to grow up. So let's cut it at that. And I'm just going to do the same here. Remember, the rear is going to have a tonneau cover, so we won't need to put this on the inside of the old door. Let's follow this right where it starts to grow bigger. It's about right here. Now, if these are the same, I'm hoping they are, you never know, with cars. Yeah, they are. Look at that. Perfect match. This one's just a little bit cut different. Yeah, let's put this together instead of finishing that door. This is more exciting. You can do the mundane welding on that thing anytime. So we're going to put this on. We're going to want to move this forward. But first, we're going to want to cut this. First, we're going to cut this out so that thing can slide right in. There's a piece of metal in there. If you knew me in high school, I was the kid that could not sit through the entire class. I was bored and out the door. That's what we're witnessing here today. I get distracted, I'm looking for the thrill, and I'm on to the next. So this could go forward as well. All the way to there. We don't need to split that because this comes in. See what I'm saying? This is going to be in here. Am I making sense here? Can we see what's going on here? Not that this piece is going to be doing it. The other proper front piece will. But let's just say we need to cut that also. We want that door trim to follow right through like that. So let's cut this to here. Yeah, so let's just open this window up right to there. that's here. We do have enough. Let's cut this right where it starts to rise up. Yeah, cool. See what I'm getting at? This shuts right against there when the door closes. So, piece A joins to piece B right here, like so. Yeah. You clean some paint off, we'll tack those. Tack them on the bench. I don't know. These have some different pieces inside, I think, that are holding us up. Let me cut those out. You getting this? Look at that action. Shadow. Cool it. Such a dog of passion. This is what I have to deal with. I wouldn't have it any other way. Putting these things in backwards and upside down. Paying attention to the dog too much. Yeah. I'm gonna put this on the table with a clamp. Well, that didn't develop as planned. Today's the next day, same scenario. When I brought the camera outside to do that modification, I turned it off. So there's no footage of actually chopping and sectioning the door inside. But as we were, I just took the frame that we had. That's that side. I took the bottom of the centerpiece and joined them. So, nice little removable cap. So yeah, we're gonna develop this further, but for now, we have a trim interior piece. You know, it's just notched. We're gonna fit all that out as well, but at least now that shuts. Looks decent once that's set and screwed in. You know, that edge will look pretty cool. Of course, there'll be some, you know, interior fit up here and below here. And then, yeah. Just gotta say, it's all part of the amateur camera work you can expect. But I'm sure Jamie's edit is gonna make it shine. See you next time. It's gonna be awesome.